What if the quietest hours of the day are the ones that decide the loudness of your success? Stay with me until the end. The final lessons will truly change your perspective. Between 3 and 5 in the morning, something sacred happens that most of the world will never experience because most of the world is still asleep. Not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, consciously. And I want you to imagine this moment with me. The sky is dark but soft, not heavy. The air feels clean, almost forgiving. Your phone is silent. The world has stopped asking you to be anything for anyone. This is not just an hour on the clock. This is a doorway. And the first lesson is this. You don't wake up early to conquer the world. You wake up early to hear yourself clearly for the first time. During the day, your mind is crowded like a noisy marketplace, full of opinions, comparisons, deadlines, and expectations that don't belong to you. Everyone wants something from you. Your time, your energy, your attention, your validation. But in these early hours, the world loosens its grip. No one is pulling you, no one is watching. And in that quiet, your truth finally has space to breathe. You begin to notice thoughts you've been drowning out for years, the dream you buried because it felt impractical, the fear you kept postponing, the intuition that whispered but was never loud enough to compete with the chaos of the day. Silence, real silence, doesn't empty you, it reveals you. It's like standing beside a still lake before sunrise, when the water is calm enough to reflect the sky perfectly. During the day, that same lake is disturbed by boats and winds and movement, but in the early morning you can see all the way down. That's what happens inside you when you wake up before the world. You start seeing clearly, not who you pretend to be, not who others expect you to be, but who you actually are, when no one is applauding or criticizing. And that clarity is powerful, because most people live their entire lives reacting. Reacting to messages, reacting to stress, reacting to fear, without ever asking, what do I want? What do I feel? What matters to me? Early mornings don't shout answers at you. They offer them gently, like a trusted friend sitting beside you saying, I've been waiting for you to slow down. You may sit there with a cup of tea or in prayer or just breathing, and suddenly insights arrive without effort. Not dramatic revelations, but honest ones. You realize why you've been restless, why certain paths don't excite you anymore, why your soul has been asking for something deeper than success, louder than approval. This is not magic, this is alignment. When the noise fades, awareness steps forward. And awareness is where every transformation begins. People think discipline is about forcing yourself into discomfort, but this kind of discipline is actually an act of compassion. You're giving yourself the gift of presence. You're choosing to meet your own life before it runs away from you again. And here's the part no one talks about. Waking up early isn't about doing more, it's about feeling more alive. Even if you do nothing but sit in stillness, you've already won something priceless: connection. Connection to your breath, your heartbeat, your inner compass. That's why these hours feel spiritual, even if you're not religious. There's something ancient about them, something human. For centuries, seekers, thinkers, creators and leaders have risen before dawn, not because they were superhuman, but because they understood that truth doesn't compete well with noise. And if you're listening to this right now, something in you already knows that. You wouldn't be here otherwise. There's a quiet longing inside you to live more consciously, to stop rushing through your own existence, to feel grounded instead of scattered. Early mornings answer that longing, not with force, but with permission. Permission to pause, permission to reflect, permission to be unfinished and still worthy. And as you begin to experience this, you'll notice something subtle but profound. Your days start to feel different. Not easier, but clearer. Decisions come with less anxiety. Your reactions soften. You're less triggered by small things because you've already met yourself in peace before the world tried to test you. This is where confidence is born, not the loud, performative kind, but the quiet, rooted kind that doesn't need validation. And I want to gently tell you this now because it matters. This first lesson is only the opening door. What comes next is even more powerful. It builds on this silence, shapes it, strengthens it, and turns it into unstoppable momentum. Stay with me. Don't skip ahead. Don't leave thinking you've already heard enough. You'll regret missing what's coming, because the next lessons show you how this quiet connection turns into self-respect, clarity, discipline, and purpose. For now, just remember this. When you wake up before the world, you're not escaping life. You're finally stepping into it, consciously, courageously, and awake. There comes a moment, usually very quiet and very private, when you realize that discipline is not the hard voice that punishes you, but the gentle one that believes in you. And this realization often arrives in the early morning, when the alarm goes off and no one is watching, no one is applauding, no one will ever know whether you stayed in bed or chose to rise. This is where the second lesson lives, and it's deeper than motivation. Discipline is not about forcing your body to obey. It is about teaching your soul that it is worthy of commitment. Every time you wake up between 3 and 5 in the morning, you are not proving strength to the world. You are practicing respect for yourself. Think about it. We show up on time for jobs because we fear consequences. We show up for people because we don't want to disappoint them. But how often do we show up for our own potential when no one is keeping score? Early rising answers that question honestly. It asks, quietly but firmly, do you value your future enough to inconvenience your present? And when you say yes, even on the days when you're tired, uninspired, uncertain, something inside you shifts. You stop seeing discipline as a cage and start experiencing it as a form of self-love. Because love is not indulgence, love is consistency. Love is choosing what nourishes you, even when it's uncomfortable. Just like a parent waking a child for school not to be cruel, but to prepare them for life, discipline wakes you up to who you can become. And in those early hours when your eyes are heavy and your bed feels warm and forgiving, a silent conversation unfolds within you. One voice whispers, comfort, stay. Res. T. You can start tomorrow. The other voice, softer, steadier, says, get up, I've got you. Every time you choose that second voice, you strengthen trust in yourself. Not loud confidence, not motivational hype. Real trust, the kind that forms the backbone of resilient people. This is why discipline builds dignity. You begin to walk through life knowing you keep promises to yourself. You no longer rely on moods to decide your actions. You become dependable to your dreams, your goals, your inner child who once believed you could be anything. And here's the beautiful paradox. The more disciplined you become, the freer you feel. Freedom doesn't come from doing whatever you want. It comes from no longer being controlled by impulse, fear, or laziness. When you wake up early, you are telling your mind, I am in charge here. You are reclaiming authorship of your day before it gets written by emails, obligations, and emergencies. Over time, this practice changes how you see yourself. You stop identifying as someone who tries and start seeing yourself as someone who follows through. And that identity is magnetic. It shows in how you speak, how you sit, how you make decisions. People feel it, even if they can't name it. There's a calm authority that comes from knowing you do hard things voluntarily. And don't misunderstand me, this isn't about perfection. Some mornings you'll fail. Some mornings you'll hit snooze. But discipline isn't broken by failure. It's broken by abandonment. NT. The power lies in returning, again and again, with humility, not guilt, with intention, not shame. This is where spirituality quietly enters the room. Because discipline, practiced with awareness, becomes devotion. A daily ritual of saying, I honor the life within me. In the stillness of early morning, when you stretch your body awake, when you sit with your breath, when you choose reflection over reaction, you're not just building habits. You're shaping character. You are teaching yourself patience, endurance, restraint, and faith. Faith that the small things you do when no one sees are shaping something extraordinary. And they are. Every early morning is a vote for the person you're becoming. You may not see results immediately. Growth rarely announces itself. But slowly, subtly, you begin to notice that chaos affects you less. You don't spiral as easily. You don't doubt yourself as loudly. That's self-respect taking root. And I want to pause here and tell you something important, because this is only the second step. The lessons ahead go even deeper. They turn discipline into clarity, clarity into power, and power into purpose. Stay with me. Don't leave now thinking you've heard the message already. You'll regret missing what comes next, because the next truths show you how this inner respect reshapes your entire life. For now, let this land. Waking up early is not about being strict with yourself. It's about being loyal to yourself. It's about standing up, literal, lie and metaphorically, and saying, my life matters enough to be lived deliberately. And when you do that, day after day, something extraordinary happens. You stop chasing confidence because you've built it quietly, patiently, one early morning at a time. Most people don't realize this, but the greatest difference between a life that feels chaotic and a life that feels intentional is not intelligence, luck, or even effort. It's whether you wake up already reacting or whether you wake up prepared to lead your own mind. And this is where the third lesson quietly but powerfully reveals itself. When you wake up between 3 and 5 in the morning, your mind is in its purest state, like freshly fallen snow before anyone has walked across it. No opinions have trampled it yet. No stress has left its footprints. In those first moments of consciousness, you are not behind the day, you are ahead of it. And that changes everything. Think about how most mornings begin for people. The alarm rings, the phone lights up, messages flood in, the mind jolts from sleep straight into urgency. Before they even sit up, their nervous system is already racing, responding to demands they didn't choose. That is not living, that is surviving. But when you wake up early, before the world begins knocking, you create a sacred buffer between who you are and what the world wants from you. In that buffer, you decide who leads, your awareness or your anxiety. This is why early mornings don't just make you productive, they make you grounded. You might sit in silence, journal, read, stretch, pray, or simply breathe. And in doing so, you are training your mind to move from intention instead of impulse. It's like tuning an instrument before a concert. You don't wait until the performance begins to adjust the strings. You prepare in advance so when the music starts, it flows. Life is no different. When you prepare your mind early, you respond with clarity instead of chaos later. And here's what's truly transformative. During these hours, your brain isn't fighting distractions yet. It's receptive, creative, honest. You begin to see patterns, not just in your work, but in your emotions, your relationships, your reactions. You notice how certain thoughts always lead to stress, how certain habits quietly drain you, how certain dreams still glow even after years of neglect. This awareness doesn't come from force, it comes from stillness. And awareness is power, not the loud kind that dominates others, but the quiet kind that masters itself. When you consistently wake up early, you stop being surprised by your own life. You start anticipating challenges before they arrive. You walk into conversations centered instead of defensive. You make decisions aligned instead of rushed. This is what it means to lead your mind. Leadership is not about controlling outcomes. It's about guiding attention. And every early morning is a training ground for that guidance. Over time, something subtle but profound happens. Your inner voice becomes stronger than external noise. You don't panic as quickly. You don't overreact as often. You don't get pulled into drama that doesn't deserve your energy, because you've already spent time anchoring yourself before the storm. Think of it like building a lighthouse within. The waves may still crash, the winds may still howl, but the light stays steady. That steadiness is not accidental. It is practiced, and practiced most effectively in the quiet before sunrise. This is also where creativity is born. Not the forced kind, but the organic kind. Ideas arrive without strain. Solutions appear without obsession. You're no longer chasing answers. You're creating space for them to arrive. And when the day begins, you carry that clarity with you like armor made of calm. People will notice. They may not know why you feel different, but they'll feel your presence. Because a mind that is prepared moves differently through the world. And I want to gently remind you here, this is only the third step. The lessons ahead go even deeper, and they build on this mastery of the mind in ways that will reshape how you see discipline, fear, gratitude, and purpose itself. Stay with me. Don't skip ahead. You'll regret missing what's coming, because the final truths are where transformation becomes undeniable. For now, let this settle into you. Waking up early is not about doing more. It's about thinking better. It's about choosing consciousness. Oh, the chaos. Leadership over reaction. Presence over panic. And when you learn to lead your mind in the quiet hours, the loud moments of life no longer control you. You control how you meet them. There is a kind of healing that only happens when the world goes quiet, when no one is asking you to explain yourself, fix yourself, or perform strength. And this is where the fourth lesson lives, in the understanding that silence is not emptiness, it is medicine. Between 3 and 5 in the morning, when the noise of the day has not yet begun and yesterday has finally loosened its grip, you enter a space where your soul can exhale. All day long we carry things we don't name, disappointments we brushed past, words we swallowed, fears we postponed, grief we disguised as productivity. Noise helps us avoid them. Busyness keeps us distracted. But silence does something brave. It invites honesty in the early hours when you sit alone with yourself. There is no audience and no escape, and at first, that can feel uncomfortable. Thoughts rise that you've kept buried, emotions surface that you told yourself you didn't have time to feel. But this is not weakness, this is release. Healing rarely happens in chaos. It happens in stillness, when you finally listen without judgment. Think of silence like a deep ocean, calm on the surface, but holding immense life beneath. When you allow yourself to sit in that silence, even for a few minutes, you begin to notice what has been quietly shaping why. From the inside. You realize that some of your exhaustion isn't physical, it's emotional. Some of your anger isn't about the present, it's about the past. Some of your fear isn't irrational, it's unresolved. And instead of pushing these realizations away, early morning silence gives you the strength to stay with them, to breathe through them, to let them soften. This is where real healing begins, not with fixing, but with feeling. When you allow yourself to feel without distraction, emotions lose their power to control you. They move through instead of getting stuck. And something extraordinary happens. Compassion arises. Compassion for the younger version of you who didn't know better. Compassion for the choices you made to survive. Compassion for the dreams you paused because life demanded too much. Silence doesn't judge you for any of it. It simply holds space. And in that space, you begin to repair what noise has broken. Your relationship with yourself. You start trusting your inner world again. You stop seeing emotions as enemies and start recognizing them as messengers. This is deeply spiritual work.